where we talk about coins that can make you rich without even winning the lottery. Now let me hit you with a question. What if I told you that a tiny brown penny from 1952, the kind you probably tossed into a fountain once upon a time, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million today? Yeah, you heard me right, $1.6 million for one little old penny. If that does not make you want to start digging through your couch cushions, I do not know what will. Stick around, because today we are diving deep into the legendary 1952 sweet penny. We are talking history, errors, value, how to spot a jackpot, and even a little personal story about how one lucky find changed my entire perspective on coin collecting. You are not gonna want to miss this. Alright, first things first, let us talk about the basics. The 1952 sweet penny was minted in San Francisco, hence the little S mint mark right below Lincoln's shoulder. Now, back in the day, these pennies were cranked out by the millions, a whopping 137 million of them to be exact. So you are probably thinking, well, if there are so many of them, how can one be worth more than my house and my car combined? Good question, and the answer lies in a magical combination of rarity, condition, and a little thing called mint errors. You see, most 1952 pennies are worth a few bucks tops in good condition, and it is a big but if you have one in pristine condition or one that has a special error, oh man, you are sitting on a gold mine. We are talking about a coin graded MS67 or higher, that is mint state. For those who are new here, basically meaning it looks as fresh as the day it popped out of the mint machine. No scratches, no discoloration, no signs that it lived a rough life bouncing around in people's pockets. Now let us dive into why a 1952 penny recently smashed records and sold for $1.6 million. It was graded MS68 by a top grading service that is basically the holy grail of coin conditions. Add in the fact that it had some minor doubling on the date and you have got yourself a unicorn. Collectors went wild. Imagine bidding on eBay but with millionaires waving their wallets around like crazy. Now let me tell you a quick story about my own brush with penny greatness. A few years back I was helping my grandpa clean out his garage. You know the kind of job where you find things like rusty nails, jars of buttons, and enough spiderwebs to decorate a haunted house. Anyway, buried under a bunch of old newspapers and some fishing lures was this old coffee can full of pennies. Naturally, being the coin nerd that I am, I dumped that bad boy out and started sorting through them like I was mining for gold, and believe it or not, I found a 1952 sweet penny. I was already mentally spending my $1 million on a yacht and a lifetime supply of pizza. Definitely not mint state material, it was more like mint, been through the ringer. Still, it sparked something in me, started learning everything I could about coins, and here I am today telling you how you can avoid the same rookie mistake I made. So how do you know if your 1952 sweet penny is worth serious money? If it looks like it spent the last 70 years in a rock tumbler, sorry, but it is probably not worth much. You want sharp details, full luster, and no major ding. Some pennies have a double die on the date or mint mark which looks like a shadow behind the numbers. If you think you have a winner, send it to a professional grading service. Yes, it costs money, but trust me, if your penny is worth 6 or 7 figures, it is a tiny investment for a massive payoff. Sometimes it takes years of searching, but hey, coin collecting is like fishing. You might not catch the big one right away, but when you do, it is all worth it. The wheat on the back of the 1952 penny is not just decorative, it symbolized the strength and prosperity of America during a time when the country was recovering from World War II. Kind of cool to think a little coin carried so much meaning, right? So as of today, the 1952 sweet penny in average circulated condition might fetch you anywhere from $5 to $20. Nice, but not retirement money. However, a flawless MS67 or MS68 specimen can go for hundreds of thousands to over $1 million. The top recent sale hit $1.6 million, and experts think the value could climb even higher as high-grade coins get snatched up into private collections and become even rarer. That is right, your beat-up change could literally be appreciating faster than your stock portfolio. Maybe you are thinking, okay, cool story, but how do I start? Simple, hit up flea markets, yard sales, estate sales, and thrift shops. You would be shocked how often valuable coins pop up where people least expect it. And hey, if nothing else, you will have a fun hobby that does not require a gym membership or memorizing fantasy football stats. Alright folks, to wrap it all up, the 1952 sweet penny is a reminder that treasure can be hiding right under our noses, sometimes literally under the couch. Finding one worth $1.6 million is rare but not impossible. With a keen eye, a little knowledge, and a whole lot of patience, you might just hit the jackpot. And if you do, remember who gave you the tip. Okay, if you enjoyed this video and you want more real-world tips on finding coins worth money, collecting strategies, and insider secrets, then do me a favor, hit that subscribe button right now. Seriously, it helps the channel more than you know. And hey, who knows, your next big score could be sitting in your pocket change right now. Thanks for watching and happy hunting. Where finding a penny could make you a millionaire. And no, you do not need a metal detector or a pirate map, just your 2 eyeballs and a little bit of patience. Now I have got a question for you. Have you ever looked at a dirty old penny lying in the parking lot and thought, nah, not worth the trouble? Well, after today you might just be diving headfirst into every gutter, crack and coin jar you see, because believe it or not, there is a 1975 Lincoln penny out there worth a jaw-dropping, hold on to your seat, $1.7 million. Yeah, you heard that right, $1.7 million for one single penny. Crazy, right? Stick around, because today we are gonna dig into why this little copper coin is worth more than most houses, what to look for, and how you might just be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. Alright, let's kick things off with the basics. The 1975 penny comes out of the Denver Mint, you know, the place that stamps out billions of coins every year. But this little guy is no ordinary penny. So what makes it so special? Well, it all comes down to a combination of rarity, error and condition. First up, let's talk about errors, because when it comes to coin collecting, mistakes are pure gold. Imagine a tired mint worker in 1975 maybe thinking about his weekend barbecue, and he loads the wrong metal blend into the coin press instead of the usual copper alloy. This penny somehow ended up being struck on a completely different metal planchet, creating a crazy rare error. Now here is where it gets even better. Most pennies from 1975 are worth, well, a penny, maybe 2 cents if you are feeling lucky. But if you have this error penny, especially in pristine condition like MS68 or higher, we are talking about collector frenzy, auction battles and million-dollar payouts. And listen, these coins are so rare that only a handful have ever surfaced. Experts believe there might be as few as 3 to 5 examples known to exist worldwide. That is rarer than a snowstorm in the Sahara. A few years back, I was at a local coin show just browsing the booths looking for some old silver dimes, nothing fancy, and I struck up a conversation with this older gentleman, must have been in his late 70s. He pulls out a little plastic holder with a penny inside and says, you know, I found this stuck between my couch cushions back in 1982, thought it looked weird, so I kept it for good luck. Turns out it was a rare off-metal error penny from the 70s, not the exact 1975 but close enough. Guess what? He ended up selling it for nearly $75,000, and he said it paid for a brand new pickup truck and a trip to Hawaii. I mean, how wild is that? One penny changing your whole life. When you are searching for this 1975 beauty, here is what you want to watch for. First, look at the weight. A normal penny from that year should weigh about 3.11 grams. If yours is lighter or heavier, it could be struck on the wrong planchet. Second, check the color. If it looks a little odd, maybe more silver colored, or has a strange shine, it could be an error. Third, and this one is key, get it graded. If you think you have a special penny, send it off to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate it and slap it into a nice little holder with a big fat label that says, hey, this thing is worth a fortune. Now about the current market value. Auction houses are losing their minds over these rare pennies. In early 2025, a verified 1975 error penny sold for just over $1.7 million, and experts predict that if another one came to light, it could go even higher, maybe 2 million, maybe more. Imagine that, finding a penny and suddenly you are calling your boss and saying, yeah, I am not coming in tomorrow or ever. But do not think you have to be Indiana Jones to find one. These coins can be anywhere: coin jars, sock drawers, estate sales, flea markets. Heck, I found a 1932 quarter in a jar of buttons once. True story. And here is a tip: keep an eye out for unsearched penny rolls. You can buy rolls of pennies from banks or estate auctions, and if you get lucky, you might just find a rare one hiding inside. For $20, you could be sitting on a literal $1 million jackpot. Also, when you are checking change at the grocery store, do not just shove it into your pocket. Take a peek, maybe even keep a little magnifying glass handy. People might look at you funny, but hey, they will not be laughing when you are rolling up to the store in a brand new sports Corona. Time I was at a gas station and saw a penny on the ground. I went to grab it, and this kid behind me says, wow dude, you are really desperate for a penny. I just looked at him, smiled and said, you never know, this might be the start of my retirement fund. He laughed, I laughed, but guess what? That penny ended up being a wheat penny from 1944 worth about $15, not $1 million, but hey, I will take it. The moral of the story is, do not let anybody shame you for picking up change. Those pennies could be the key to your dream vacation, your dream home, or maybe just a big ol' pile of cash to swim around in like Scrooge McDuck. Alright folks, there you have it. The 1975 Lincoln penny is one of the most valuable modern pennies out there, worth up to $1.7 million today, and maybe even more tomorrow. If you take anything away from this video, it is this: always check your change, always look twice at those beat up dirty coins. You never know when a tiny copper coin could flip your whole life upside down in the best possible way. And hey, If you enjoyed this video and you want more tips, tricks and stories about coins worth serious money, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell so you do not miss a thing, and join our awesome community of treasure hunters. You never know, your $1 million penny could be waiting for you right now. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember friends, keep hunting, keep dreaming, and never ever walk past a lonely little penny again. Where pocket change can turn into major paydays. Listen, if you have ever dropped a penny and thought, it is just a penny, you might want to think again. Today we are diving into a coin that could literally change your life. We are talking about the 1992 D mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and get this, it is currently valued at a whopping $18 million. Yeah, you heard me right, $18 million for a coin you might have accidentally vacuumed up last week. Now, before you start tearing apart your couch cushions, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago I was cleaning out my grandpa's old garage, right, you know, the kind of garage that smells like motor oil, sawdust and memories. Well, while I was knee-deep in rusty tools and mystery jars, I found this little box of coins tucked behind a pile of old fishing rods. I almost tossed it out thinking it was junk. Spoiler alert, it was not junk. One of those pennies ended up paying for my new truck. True story. And that is when I realized sometimes the smallest things can hold the biggest treasures. So stick around, because today we are gonna break down what makes the 1992 D Lincoln penny so dang valuable, what you should look for, and how you might just strike gold or copper as it were. Alright, let us get into it. First off, you might be wondering what is so special about a 1992 D Lincoln penny. They made millions of these things, right? True, they did, but we are not just talking about any 1992 D penny here. We are talking about a very rare variety called the close AM variety. What does close AM mean? Well, flip over your penny, look at the back where it says United States of America. Pay close attention to the A and the M in America. In most pennies the A and the M are spaced apart like two co-workers who cannot stand each other, but in the close AM variety those letters are practically touching like two teenagers at a school dance, and that, my friends, is the $1 million difference. Now, the Denver Mint produced mostly wide AM pennies in 1992, but somehow some close AM coins slipped through the cracks. These are the unicorns of the coin world. If you have one, congrats, you are officially in the high roller club. But wait, there is more. The condition of the penny matters too. Collectors go nuts over pennies that are in near perfect shape. We are talking about coins graded MS67, MS68 or higher by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Think of it like high school grades. A perfect A gets you the big money. A D, well, that is just a D. No offense to my D students out there. So how do you find out if you have one? Easy. First, grab a magnifying glass. Unless you have superhero vision, then lucky you. Second, flip the penny over and stare lovingly at that AM. If they are cozy and close, congratulations, you might just be holding a fortune. Third, get that coin graded seriously. Do not just toss it into your change jar and hope for the best. Send it off to a professional grader. It could be the best decision you ever made, next to not marrying your high school sweetheart who now lives in a van down by the river. And listen, the market is hot right now. As of today, a 1992 D close AM Lincoln penny in top condition is worth about $18 million. That is enough to buy your dream house, your dream car, and still have enough left over to buy a yacht. Just imagine pulling up to your high school reunion in a Lamborghini, and when people ask how you made your fortune, you just flip a penny into the air and wink. Now that is the dream. I know what some of you are thinking, man, that is like finding a needle in a haystack. Well, maybe, but let me tell you, coins have been hiding in plain sight for decades. You never know what is tucked away in your old piggy bank or even in the spare change tray of your car. Funny enough, a buddy of mine found a rare penny while digging around for quarters at a laundromat. True story. He went in looking to do laundry and walked out with a coin worth over $5 grand. Best load of laundry he ever did. So do not underestimate the power of looking. You just need a little bit of patience, a good magnifying glass, and maybe a little luck. Alright, my friends, to wrap this up, if you have a 1992 D Lincoln penny, go check it, flip it over, see if that AM is snuggling close together. If it is, get that bad boy graded, because you might just be sitting on a life-changing fortune. And hey, even if you do not find one, it is still pretty darn fun hunting for treasure, right? Plus it gives you a great excuse to dig through your junk drawer and finally figure out what is rattling around in there. If you enjoyed hanging out today and you want more tips, tricks and crazy stories about coins worth serious money, make sure you smash that subscribe button. It is free, it is fun, and it might just put you on the path to your own $1 million find. Hit that like button too, it really helps out the channel, and drop a comment below if you have ever found a rare coin, or if you are just starting your treasure hunting journey. I would love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, and remember folks, your next big payday could be hiding in your pocket right now. See you next time. Where pocket change turns into major change today, we are diving deep into a little coin that could turn your couch cushions into a retirement fund. I'm talking about the 1969 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that right now could be worth up to $1.9 million. Yeah, you heard me right. One little dusty penny hiding under your car seat could buy you a beach house, a boat, and a lifetime supply of tacos all at once. Stick around, because today I am going to tell you everything you need to know about this treasure, how to spot it, what makes it valuable, and why it might just be the best thing to ever happen to you since sliced bread. And trust me, you do not want to miss my personal story because it is a doozy. First off, let us get to know our star of the show. The 1969 D Lincoln penny was struck at the Denver Mint. The D stands for Denver, and it looks just like your average everyday penny to the untrained eye. But oh no, my friend, this is not just any old coin. Most of the 1969 D pennies are pretty common. Millions were made and you can still find them in circulation today, but there are a few rare ones that have some very special features, and those are the ones racking up jaw-dropping prices at auctions. You might be thinking, come on, it is just a penny. Well, here is the kicker. The big money ones usually have what is called a double die error, that is when the image on the coin gets stamped twice but slightly off, making things look a little fuzzy or doubled. Imagine trying to take a selfie and sneezing halfway through. Same idea, but way more valuable. On the 1969 D Lincoln penny, the doubling happens mainly on the words like liberty and in God we trust, and sometimes even on the date itself. Collectors go absolutely bananas for these errors because they are super rare and super cool. Plus, anything from the 60s just seems to have that extra magic touch. Right now, do not go flipping every penny you find just yet. These are extremely rare. Most 1969 D pennies are just worth 1 cent. Maybe 2 cents if you are lucky. The valuable ones are those rare double die errors combined with the D Mint mark. That combination is what makes this coin a superstar. To give you an idea, fewer than a handful of these coins have been verified by grading companies like PCGS and NGC, so we are talking about winning the lottery odds here. But hey, somebody has to win, right? A few years ago I was cleaning out my grandpa's old garage. You know how it goes, dusty boxes, old fishing poles, weird smells. I was elbow deep in junk when I found an old coffee can full of coins. I felt like Indiana Jones, but instead of ancient relics I was swimming in pennies, nickels, and the occasional Canadian quarter. I spent hours sifting through them hoping for a miracle, and guess what I found? A 1969 D penny. My heart almost stopped. I was already planning my new mansion in my head. I rushed to check it for doubling, but alas, it was just a plain regular penny. No doubling, no fortune, no private yacht. Still, I framed that coin and put it on my desk as a reminder that sometimes you gotta keep searching because you never know when you might hit the jackpot. And hey, grandpa got a kick out of it too, so in a way I still won. Alright, let us get practical. If you want to hunt down one of these bad boys, here is what you need to look for. First, grab a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. You are not going to catch doubling with the naked eye unless you are some kind of superhero. Check liberty closely, look at in God we trust, examine the date. If you see letters that look like they have a shadow or are doubled, that is your green light. Also, it is worth checking the condition. Coins in better condition always fetch higher prices, so if yours looks like it just left the mint, you might want to start planning your victory parade now. If you think you found one, do not go running to eBay just yet. You will need to get it professionally graded and authenticated. This is crucial. Without a certification from a trusted grading service, no one is shelling out $1 million for your lucky find. Getting it graded will cost you a few bucks, maybe $100 or so, but it is well worth it considering the payoff. So here is the current scoop. In top condition, the 1969 D double die penny has fetched up to $1.9 million at auction. That is no joke, people. Even ones in slightly lower grades have been sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine finding a coin in your sock drawer that could erase your mortgage. How sweet would that be? And because coin collecting is hotter than ever, prices are only going up. Investors are jumping into the hobby left and right, which means your little penny could be worth even more tomorrow. Let me give you a few extra pointers if you want to maximize your chances. Start with old change jars, garages, basements, and flea markets. You would be surprised where people stash coins without realizing what they have. Network with other collectors. Sometimes trading and swapping coins can land you something special. Quick breather time, because who does not love a few random facts? Did you know the Lincoln cent has been in continuous production since 1909? That makes it the longest running coin design in U.S. history. Also, Abraham Lincoln was the first real person featured on a regular issue American coin. Up until then they used things like Lady Liberty and bald eagles and other fancy designs. And get this, the first Lincoln pennies were made of almost pure copper, but during World War II they switched to Steel because copper was needed for bullets and wiring. The 1969 D Lincoln penny with the double die error is one of those magical coins that proves dreams can hide in the most ordinary places: your spare change, your junk drawer, your grandpa's old coffee can. If you have a sharp eye, a little patience, and a lot of luck, you might just find yourself holding a tiny copper ticket to a $1.9 million payday. So keep looking, keep learning, and above all keep having fun, because at the end of the day, coin collecting is not just about the money, it is about the thrill of the hunt, the stories behind the coins, and the memories you make along the way. If you enjoyed this video and you want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth real money, hit that subscribe button like you are smashing a piñata at a birthday party, and do not forget to tap the bell so you never miss a chance to strike it rich. Alright, gentlemen, picture this: you're going through an old jar of pennies you found tucked away in the back of your closet or drawer. Maybe it's your grandma's collection, or just some loose change you've been holding onto for years, wondering if it's worth anything. You probably think, it's just a bunch of pennies, nothing special. But what if I told you that one specific penny, one from 1987 with no mint mark, could be worth, hold on to your hats, $2 million? Yep, you heard that right. A $2 million penny. Now, I know you're probably thinking, come on, there's no way. But trust me, it's true. And today, we're going to dive into how a simple, everyday penny could be the goldmine you've been overlooking. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll be looking at your penny jar in a whole new light. Now, let's break it down. Why is the 1987 penny so valuable? The thing that makes it stand out is the lack of a mint mark. If you look closely at most coins, you'll see a small letter on the front, under Lincoln's bust, which indicates where the coin was minted. Normally, you'll see a P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and sometimes even an S for San Francisco. But the 1987 pennies? They were supposed to have a mint mark, but some didn't. In the case of the 1987 no mint mark penny, it's an error that turned out to be a huge opportunity. You see, coins that have mistakes, whether it's a missing mint mark, a wrong letter, or a weird print error, are far more rare. And in the world of coin collecting, rarity equals value. But here's the kicker. The 1987 no mint mark penny isn't just rare because it's missing a letter. It's incredibly rare because very few of them were ever released into circulation. The US Mint probably didn't even know it happened until collectors started noticing the unusual coins. The result? A massive boost in demand. That I remember the first time I heard about this penny. I was at a coin show, chatting with a collector who was showing off his prized finds. And this guy pulls out a little, worn-out penny that looked like it had seen better days. He says, "This little guy. Worth more than your house, my friend." Naturally, I laughed. I mean, it was a penny, right? But then he drops the bombshell. This penny was one of the 1987 no mint mark ones. $2 million. I nearly spit out my coffee. But he wasn't kidding. These coins have sold at auction for up to $2 million, depending on the quality and condition. Alright, so now you're probably thinking, okay, I need to find one of these for myself. But how do you tell if you've got a $2 million penny or just a bunch of regular, run-of-the-mill change? First, check for the lack of mint mark. Like I said earlier, normally, you'd see a letter P, D, or S below Lincoln's shoulder. If it's missing entirely, that's the first step to confirming you've got the right one. Second, check the condition. I know, this one's obvious, but it's important. The more worn out a coin is, the less it'll be worth. If your penny is shiny and almost looks brand new, that's the golden ticket. But even if it's a little worn, don't rule it out just yet. Some well-worn examples still fetch a pretty penny, pun intended. Okay, so we've established that this penny is rare. But why is it worth so much money? To understand this, we need to dive into the coin market and how rarity and demand work. In the world of coin collecting, it's all about supply and demand. And in this case, the demand for the 1987 no mint mark penny far exceeds the supply. The US Mint didn't release many of these pennies, so when collectors started to realize their value, they went into full hunt mode. With fewer and fewer of them in circulation, the price skyrocketed. Think of it like vintage cars: the fewer there are, the more valuable they become. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, well, I can just go to a coin shop and find one, right? If only it were that easy. These pennies are so rare that most coin dealers and collectors are holding onto them, knowing their worth. You're not going to walk into a shop and stumble upon one without a bit of luck and some serious digging. Let's say, by some miracle, you do find one of these rare pennies. What do you do with it? Well, the first thing is, don't go to a pawn shop and try to sell it for pennies on the dollar. These things are worth much more than that, my friend. The best way to sell a valuable coin like this is through auction houses. There are several reputable auction houses that specialize in rare coins, and they know exactly how to market and sell them for top dollar. Some of the most famous auction houses include Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers. Alternatively, you could also go to specialized coin dealers who deal in high-value coins. But, again, you're going to need to do some research and make sure they're reputable. Now, here's a tip I learned the hard way. When I first got into coin collecting, I didn't understand just how much research and patience was involved. You can't just go hunting for rare coins without knowing what you're looking for. It's kind of like hunting for treasure without a map. So, before you start pulling out every penny in your collection, make sure to do your homework. The 1987 no-mint mark penny is not just another penny you can toss in your jar, it's potentially worth $2 million. Whether you find one in your old coin collection or come across one in your change, you'll want to do your research, check the condition, and make sure you're sitting on a fortune. And, hey, if you enjoyed hearing about this $2 million penny and want more tips on rare coins, valuable finds, and strategies to build your own collection of riches, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be back with more tips and stories to help you uncover your very own hidden treasures. Trust me, there are more out there. Thanks for tuning in, and happy hunting, my fellow coin collectors. Imagine stumbling across a penny in your pocket, not just any penny, but one that could be worth over $2 million. Yeah, you heard me right. A single penny, one that most people would toss into a jar or even worse, just leave lying around like it's not worth anything. But that's exactly the case with the 1988 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Stick around because this coin might be hiding in your collection, your change jar, or even in your couch cushions right now, and I'm about to tell you why this seemingly ordinary penny could actually be a gold mine. So, grab your magnifying glass, because we're diving into the world of the 1988 D. Lincoln penny, and trust me, you won't want to miss out on learning how a simple coin can make you a small fortune. The 1988 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. You might be wondering, what makes this penny so special? I mean, it's just a penny, right? Wrong. This penny, minted in 1988 at the Denver Mint, has a bit of a secret, and it's not just the fact that it has a D mint mark. That D stands for Denver, obviously, and that's where things start getting interesting. You see, in 1988, there was an error with certain pennies, a production error that makes some of these pennies far more valuable than you could ever imagine. And here's the kicker: while most 1988 D pennies are worth just 1 cent, some of them have a rare variety that make them worth a whopping $2.1 million. So, how does that happen? Let me explain. What's happening here is that some of these pennies are misstruck, meaning the die that stamped the design onto the coin wasn't properly aligned or worn out, causing a unique anomaly in the coin's appearance. This misstruck error leads to very subtle, yet valuable differences in how the coin looks. You might not even notice it with the naked eye, but once it's identified and authenticated by the experts, it can lead to a major payday. Well, you'll need a sharp eye and a good magnifying glass for starters. Most 1988 D pennies look perfectly normal, but the key difference is often in the way the coin's design is stamped. Some of these misstruck coins have a double die error, which means the image on the coin is slightly out of alignment, and if that happens, it could make all the difference in the world. I'll give you a little personal story here to bring this to life. A few years ago, I was sorting through some old coins I'd inherited from my grandfather. I wasn't expecting anything too exciting, just a bunch of old change, maybe some cool vintage finds, but nothing that would change my life. Then I came across a coin that stood out. It was a regular-looking 1988 D penny. At first glance, it looked just like every other penny I had ever seen. But something about it made me stop and take a second look. Which I definitely didn't use enough in my younger days, so I could barely remember where I put it, and started inspecting the coin. Sure enough, I saw some weird doubling on the lettering. I freaked out for a second, thinking I might have stumbled across something rare. After a quick check, it turned out it wasn't the misstruck variety I was hoping for, but it taught me a valuable lesson about being thorough. Don't write off any coin as worthless too quickly. That 1988 D penny, just like a lot of other coins from different years, has the potential to be hiding something special. Sometimes, the most valuable coins are the ones that don't look like much at first glance. It's about being curious and knowing where to look. Trust me, if you're into coins like I am, there's nothing more exciting than holding onto a coin that could potentially turn into a small fortune. Now, you're probably asking, how do I actually sell this coin and make money off it? Well, the first step is getting it authenticated. Find a reputable coin dealer or grading service like PCGS or NGC to get your penny graded. These organizations will evaluate the coin, confirm whether it's the rare variety you think it is, and assign it a grade based on its condition. Remember, the value of a coin is directly related to its condition. A mint condition coin can be worth far more than one that's been worn down over the years. The next step is to find a buyer. You can either sell it through a coin dealer, auction house, or even online marketplaces like eBay. Just make sure you're being smart about it and doing your research. You don't want to get ripped off by someone who doesn't understand the true value of what you have. Now, let's talk about what to look for in other coins. The truth is, the 1988 D penny is far from the only rare coin that could be sitting in your collection or tucked away in a jar somewhere. Keep your eyes peeled for any coins with errors, double dies, or other minting anomalies. That's where the money is. And the best part? You don't need to be an expert to get started. If you've got a collection of pennies or any other coins lying around, go ahead and start inspecting them. You never know what treasure you might find hiding there. The 1988 D Abraham Lincoln penny, not just a simple piece of change, but potentially a $2.1 million jackpot waiting for you to discover it. Now, I know it might seem too good to be true, but this is exactly why coin collecting can be such an exciting and rewarding hobby. You never know when you'll find something that could make you a small fortune. That if you're looking for more tips, tricks, and insider secrets on how to find coins worth serious money, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. I've got plenty more valuable coin info coming your way. And hey, if you've got any cool coin stories or coins you found hiding in your collection, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you and see what treasures you've uncovered.